Well, we're pleased to have Cheng Yao Fan. She's a founder of Pi Network. Cheng Yao, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to begin and just ask you, what is it about Pi Network, if you had to explain it to a novice, that makes it so unique and advantageous for crypto investors?
Oh, first of all, our target audience is not necessarily investors. Pi is a utility token. We're targeting actually everyday people. Actually, one of the mission of Pi is making cryptocurrency and blockchain technology as accessible as possible. And accessibility includes that how can we minimize the barrier to entry. Barrier to entry includes financial barrier to entry, which is referring to the investment part. That's part of the reason why Bitcoin is hard to enter later, because it's so high. It requires a lot of money to enter for many ordinary people. Another aspect of barrier is technical barrier. That's why we make it easy to mine, and we make it most accessible in current day through a phone.
Great. So as I understand it, the Pi coin can only be mined on the Pi network. So why would I want to mine that coin instead of just the Bitcoin, which is the one that everybody and their mother wants to be in?
Well, to follow from my last answer, basically the two reasons. One is it's free. Everyone, as long as you are willing to make contribution to this network and ecosystem, can participate. Second thing is easily done. You don't necessarily require some knowledge about computer science in order to set up a node, understanding the consensus algorithm in order to mine like Bitcoin. And you also don't need to spend a lot of money for your electricity to run Bitcoin node. So that's why it's easier to mine.
I want to come back to that point about energy because it's a very interesting one. Talk to me a little bit about the utility of the token. So if I mine it, what's the benefit to me as a user and a miner?
So the vision of Pi is to actually building an ecosystem that is having different kinds of goods and services that are available to be purchased in Pi. And what type of goods and services? It's not just like the goods is not just the investment, the product. The goods are just like the Web2 type of goods and services, meaning that it helps you bring you convenience or fulfill a need of yours that is outside of this, lens of investment. It's literally for practical benefits than just a return, understanding of a return.
Gotcha. It makes sense. It makes sense. Have you raised any funding, and how do you make money?
We, as you know, the Pi network is free to mine. So in terms of the token side, we decided to give 80% of our supply for free to mine by everyone, and the 20% is goes to the core team. And out of all the coins, we have never sold any coin. Probably this is one of our effort to make it as compliant as possible. We have never run any ICO. We have never sold any token. To support the business, we are running it just like any other Silicon Valley tech startup, that we raise some funds on equity to support the operation of the company.
Gotcha. I want to go back to your point about energy, because last week, New York lawmakers passed a bill to ban for 2 years certain kinds of Bitcoin mining that uses energy sources that are bad for the environment. It's now waiting a final signature from the governor of New York. A lot of folks are looking at that story as kind of a barometer of what might happen, in the rest of the country by other states. Do you think that's a good move, and how do you think that affects Pi Network, especially your point earlier about lower energy usage?
Well, its impact on Pi Network is, I guess, it's not necessarily directly impacting us because we're completely using a different type of consensus algorithm that is different from proof of work. We're using, a federated Byzantine agreement, by which I mean it's relying on a trust graph instead of energy. So this consensus algorithm relying on a trust graph to dynamically form quorums, which is a subset of the nodes. And inside the quorum, nodes are sending messages to each other in regard to whether they think this transaction is true or fraudulent. And then this consensus algorithm can reach finality of making a decision, okay, to make that determination for the determination for the network and write it on the ledger. So based on what I described, it's relying on a trust graph, which is why what all these mobile phone users are contributing to, and that's why they're mining, the mobile miners. And then relying on that, the nodes are making decisions by transacting, messaging each other about their agreement or disagreement. By saying that, you can understand that any laptop today are able to be online and being able to message each other on the internet. So that's why by nature, this algorithm doesn't necessarily rely on energy. And that is the fundamental reason why Pi Network is not consuming a lot of energy like the classic proof of work consensus algorithm.
Understood. Final question, Pi Network has a huge following worldwide. To what do you attribute your success, and what is needed to further amplify the presence of Pi Network in the United States?
Well, we are actually, because I guess our headquarters, a big part of our team are actually located in US. US is actually one of the biggest community of Pi Network. However, Pi Network is a world project. Actually, we have over 230 countries distributed users from pioneers from all over these countries, almost every region of the world now. We are, not necessarily trying to increase a certain population because it's a world project, but in order to build on top of, to grow in every region, we need to basically continue cultivating more utilities, continue to build our community, continue to bolster our sense of identity of being part of the Pi Network. And it's from the bottom layer, the blockchain layer, the social structure layer, the cultural layer, all three layers as a full stack of building a full vibrant ecosystem of Pi Network.
What a fascinating company that you've built, and we thank you for sharing some of the insights with us on what you're working on, how it works, and your thoughts on its future growth. Shengyu Fan, we thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.